I come from a small white suburban neighborhood. The way our district school system works is that there are 2 elementary schools that merge into 1 middle school and high school. The way that they break up which kids go to which elementary school leaves one being predominantly white and the other the same, but with most of the BIPOC students that are in our district. I was placed in the predominantly white one. This was a big culture shock for me as a little Latina. My preschool and my life up until this point was filled with a lot of diversity. My time at this elementary school consisted of being one of the only 3 POC in all my classes, kindergarten through 6th grade. This left me being extremely shy and super introverted because of all the microaggressions I faced. I was made fun of because my appearance, the way I would mispronounce words, and cultural differences. I remember being told by my white peers while learning about the civil rights movement for the first time that they wouldn't have been my friends and I would have probably been dead. I don't pronounce pizza correctly, and I was always made fun of for saying it quote-unquote weird. In a game of telephone, that was the word chosen, and I remember being embarrassed because the person next to me couldn't understand what I was saying. My time in this elementary school resulted in most of my friends being white and me trying to conform and assimilate to those around me. Going into middle school was interesting because all of the Latinos in my grade ostracized me because they felt that I wasn't Latina enough and whitewashed. At first, it didn't bother me because I had my own friends, but going into high school it started to bother me. I was placed in a class called Heritage Spanish. This is a Spanish class for students who already speak Spanish, so it's more of a language arts class, but in Spanish. It was weird going into a class full of students who had never given me the time of day, but being in this class made them realize that I was no different than them. This classroom became my safe space for what ended up being a really bad freshman year. My freshman year was the same year that Donald Trump was elected as president. This gave people the feeling of entitlement to say racist things. People were ripping off people's hijabs, targeting and harassing BIPO students. It was difficult to face this because it was really hard for me to stand up for myself because I was so shy. This really wore down my mental health and made me not have the motivation to want to go to school. I found a group called Latina Youth Leadership Academy, and it helped me turn everything around. The mentors helped me find my voice and speak up against what was happening and the confidence to do so. I went from just letting kids tell me to go back to my country if I wanted to speak my native tongue to standing up to a group of boys telling me that the Black Lives Matter movement was stupid. In my sophomore through senior year, I became really focused on educational equity and weeding out my racist friends. I was a leader for my school's Latina club, and through that, I pushed for educational equity in my district. Through this platform, I was able to talk to the educators in my district. I created the first ever school dance with mainly Spanish music, created a safe space for the Latino community, and created more of an equitable environment. I also became involved with a lot of organizations and youth programming in my community. This gave me the platform to do things such as creating a podcast for educators talking about how they can help make an equitable environment for all their students, creating a youth conference centered on equity, speaking at really big events, going to talk on a talk show speaking about my experiences, and being able to attend the Youth Changer Summit in DC. To think back on how I used to let peers silence me into complacence and how I have since changed into the person who is able to accomplish these things that my shy, quiet 13-year-old self would have rather crawled into a hole than to ever do, makes me really proud of myself and who I'm becoming.